Greetings everyone, DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey guys, as you see in the title of this particular video message, I want to have a quick conversation, with, white people. And let me start off this letter to you from us, so-called black people, the Negro, the Hebrew Israelite, like you don't know that. Maybe you don't, but you'll learn that soon enough. But I wanted to talk about, the protesting that's going on, and how that in many cities around America and around the world, I might add, countries around the world, whites are joining in protests to speak out against brutality of so-called African Americans here in America. And it's interesting because I understand America's position, in this so-called shit, I guess, for lack of a better word, that has hit the fan. In other words, your dirty laundry is out in public and everybody can see you now. And of course, as always, like the fox, you're going to always come across to the hen as disinterested, I guess, for lack of a word. You're always going to come to the hens, in a very meek and humble way, because at the end of the day, you don't want to startle the hens because that's dinner. And you know that if those hens get any inkling that you're up to no good, they're going to run. And so America, you're running. At least you're trying to run. It's another dodge. It's a dodge so that the rest of the world, somehow or another, forget about the 400 years plus of oppression that you have applied, the pressure, the stress, the bitterness, the viciousness, the flat out murder in public of our people. And so now as you go around the country with your protests, you are trying to give the impression to the world that no, we really are sorry about what happened and that we really didn't mean it. But you did mean it. Because you've tolerated it. If you're alive today and you're an adult, you've tolerated it at least 20 years. And depending on what your age as an adult, if you're 60, 70, 80, you've tolerated it for 60, 70, or 80 years. And at no point in time, and you heard of all the murdering of our people. This goes all the way back from the lynchings, the lynch mobs, the clans, the burning down cities, the burning down towns, to slaughtering people. I mean, after all, right here in Louisiana, matter of fact, right here in southeast Louisiana, Destrehan, there was a uprising of my people, a rebellion of my people, a protest of my people, 500 plus of them, who decided that they were no longer going to be victimized by the victimizers. Those who today, the ancestors of those who refuse to address the reparations issue because of the labor of those people that were 100, matter of fact, 1811, so what, 19, so almost 200 plus years ago, that my people uprise, they rose up and they protested. And they left that plantation in Destrehan, Louisiana, 500 of them plus, and on their way to New Orleans to take advantage of this city so that they could be free and establish themselves as a free people. But you know what you did? People like Governor Claiborne, it's a major street named after him. How ironic. They tore down the statue of General Lee. They tore down the statue of General Beauregard. They tore down all these racist Confederate soldiers or generals. They tore down all of their monuments in this city, but yet they left major streets with the names and cities in this part of the state after these men that I'm talking about right now, who slaughtered those 500 men and women and children of color, so-called African Americans. They slaughtered them. My people fought back. They left the plantations. They rebelled against their slave masters, only to later on be slaughtered by a man by the name of Kenner, Louisiana, by a man by the name of Chalmette, Louisiana, by a man named of Destrehan, Louisiana, by a man named Claiborne Avenue that goes all the way through north and south of the city of New Orleans. Why haven't we changed those names? Why haven't that been addressed? But I digress. That's a story for another day. My point is, there's 400 years of atrocities. In white America, please understand that you journeying hands to try to take the poop off, the smell off of your stink, it's not going to work this time. The world knows who you are, but unfortunately the world has joined in, with your protests here, or maybe you joined in with their protests. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, we are going to hold you accountable for what you owe us. And what you owe us is justice. What you owe us is reparations. What you owe us is what is the word I'm looking for? What you owe us is restitution for all of the bloodshed and the mayhem that you've caused all the way up to 2020, May 26th, talking about George Floyd. And if you think that somehow or another we're going to be duped into, your false humility, your false guilt, it's not going to happen. We've seen this before. We've seen this before. So we know what you're up to. And just like Yeshua told us, we're going to judge you by your actions. Yeshua said you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. You don't get caught up in the tree itself. You wait till the season and you see what comes off that tree before you take and credit that tree for what it is. So if this is sincerity on your part, then you got a lot more to do than marching up and down the streets in your cities and your towns and around this world. Just like you've given reparations to every other oppressed group on this planet that America oppressed, including Germany, Japan, I can go on and on. I don't know how we did it with Germany, with Israel, because that was in Germany. The Japanese, here, that in the concentration camps. The Italians who were attacked in this very same city, almost 120 years ago. You found a way to come up with money for the stimulus for the coronavirus. Trillions of dollars. And you're going to do it again. But the minute we say, pay us what you owe, cut the check, then all of a sudden you get quiet. What check? We don't owe you guys anything. Well, I just told you, your ancestors slaughtered 500 of my people. For doing what? What did they do for you to slaughter them? Right here in Southeast Louisiana. What did you do? What did they do for you to slaughter them? Tried to break the chains that you had on them. Tried to break away from the free labor that you were getting from them. Oh, and that's not to forget about the rape, the maiming, the hanging, the burning, and any other atrocity that you wanted to perpetuate on them if they did not obey your commands. Not much different than your slave catchers today, so-called police officers, are doing to our people right now. Under, your guidance, your hidden hand. No, I didn't tell the police. You didn't tell the police to do it. You just kind of winked at them when they did. Because you haven't held them accountable ever. And the few that you've arrested now, you only did that because of the world is looking at you, Fox. The hens have taken notice of you, Fox. So now what are you going to do? I suspect you intend to eat the hens. In other words, I suspect that you want us all to go back home so you can go back to your normalcy and continue to turn your head at the atrocities that are happening to my people. But I pray to Yah that my people are finally waking up to your debauchery, to your cunningness. Maybe you're waking up to your own cunningness. Maybe you sincerely are going to do something about everything to redress the issues that have been going on in this country against my people for hundreds and hundreds of years. Maybe you're going to do something, but that remains to be seen. But clearly, we want you to understand that this is not just about your marching up and down the street, holding hands with one another, talking about Black Lives Matters. Because at the end of the day, we know you don't really believe that. That's just a slang, again, to take, the attention off of you, to change the narrative and make the narrative about something that it isn't. It has never been about our life mattering to America. How could it have been? This country was built upon the blood and toil of my ancestors. So how could you ever say we matter? Of course we don't matter. We don't matter to you. Never have and possibly never will. You know, I was talking to a very dear friend of mine earlier today, and we got into a very good conversation. And the conversation kind of evolved around maybe the children one day will change. And that's all fine and good, talking about the white kids. Maybe the white kids, you know, they will have a different approach because of, you know, the emphasis that's being placed on the injustice right now. And maybe when they're adults, they'll change. But see, there's a problem with that. There's a problem with that. Yes, possibly they could change. But does that mean we have to wait another 20, another generation, another 20, another 30, another 40 years to wait on this change? Is that what you're telling us? That your children will not be like your parents? Or your grandparents or your great-grandparents? So wait another 20, 30, 40 years? That's what you're asking us to do? Because children change, my friend. And we know that. You know that too. Those same little innocent, loving little children, those same little innocent, lovely little ducklings, before long will be eating fish as well. So no, we don't have another 10 or 20, 30 years to wait for your children to do what you should do, that you have the power to do. No, we don't have that kind of time. If you're sincere, then put your money where your mouth is. Action speaks louder than words. I mean, this is the equivalent of someone committing a crime against your family, dear white people, and they get arrested. And then a few days later, they're released out of jail, and you are appeased, and you're good with that. Well, you know, they did arrest them. I don't care if they didn't charge them and they let them go free. You know, they were arrested. Your protesting means the same thing to us. You would be outraged if they allowed them to go free. You would want them to face the full penalty for their actions. So protesting is not enough. Protesting is not enough. Great speeches is not enough. It's time for you to right the wrong of your ancestors and right your own wrongs, because you tolerated it up to this point. You've ignored us, you've demeaned us, you've called us all kind of vicious names, you've redlined us, you've redistricted us, you've segregated yourself from us, you've murdered us or allowed us to be murdered with race soldiers inside the police force and outside. No, dear white America, if you're genuinely sincere, then go out and you bring about reparations to us. You go out and you change the laws. You make it a hate crime to put anyone to put their hands on us based off of our ethnicity. That's what we want. And until we get that, as far as we're concerned, you're just a wolf in sheep's clothing. If you're anything other than that, then show yourself, announce yourself, pronounce yourself. Pull off the cover and go out and petition this government to take that same money that they gave to you and to small businesses and major corporations around America. You go back and tell them you're doing the same thing now for the people of color, the ancestors, the descendants of American slaves right here in America. That's what you need to do. And until you do that, all the rest of your talk, all your actions, all your charading, your parading, your protesting, your marching means absolutely nothing to us. Even our book tells us that Satan has transformed himself as an angel of light and his demons as angels of righteousness. Transform means that they're hiding. Means they're pretending to be something that they're not. That's what we see in your protest. Pretense. Because you were protesting with King. Dr. King, remember? You were protesting with many others. And then you went right back home, went right back to your normal life, and left us out here to continue to get slaughtered by these vicious, racist, policemen and other men that you have tolerated, who sleep in your beds every night. And you did nothing about it. And now again, you're back up to, the fox has come back again. As old Malcolm once said, the chickens, come back home to roost, but this is the foxes are coming back to roost. So what are you? What are you? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see a racist or a bigot? What do you see? An unjust person when you look in the mirror? A con artist? What do you see? Because if you want to see purity, if you want to see justice, you want to see righteousness, then do right by us. And by the way, those 500 slaves that were slaughtered by these people whose names are still on cities down in Southeast Louisiana, when are you going to do something to change that? When are you going to change the highway in New Orleans, the major Highway 39, from Claiborne Avenue to Black Lives Matters Avenue? Huh? When are you going to do that? To redress our grievances with those vicious murderers. They were so vicious that they took, not only did they slaughter 500 men, women, and children who only wanted to be free, and who were only trying to liberate themselves in 1811, right here in Southeast Louisiana, 100 of the men, you know what they did? You know what your ancestors did to them? They cut off their heads, put their heads on poles, and they put their heads from Destrehan, Louisiana, all the way down to the Riverwalk or the Moonwalk, right in front of the French Quarters, right in front of Jackson Square, right in front of the St. Louis Cathedral, right here where many of you are touring right now as you go there and visit as tourists, and you never realize that you're walking in a place where innocent men and women were slaughtered, heads chopped off, stuck on poles, every mile or so from downtown New Orleans to French Quarters, all the way to Destrehan, Louisiana, to send a message to us that we better never try to break the chains that you put upon us. We had better never not continue to feed your families at the expense of our families. That's what your ancestors did. And you don't think you owe us anything other than a protest, than a march, and a few symbolic, efforts, to pacify us. That's all you think that you owe. No, white America. You owe blood. You owe blood money. You have blood on your hands. And that blood is going to stay on your hands. It's going to follow you to the grave and possibly to hell if you don't do something about it while you're alive right now. And we're not going to wait for your children to bring about change. Your children are you, as you are your parents' children. Give them time. They'll become just like you. Passive. Unassuming. It's not my problem. I didn't do it. That's what your children will become, because that's what you became. So I bring this forward to you just so that you know. No, we are not going to step back and accept tokenism anymore. We're going to protest, we're going to fight, we're going to do whatever we need to do to make your wrong right. And if you're genuinely sincere about it, you're going to fight with us, and you're going to make it happen, and you're going to make it happen right now in your lifetime, not in your children's lifetime. Why will you put the burden on them? You own this. You're the adult, not the children. So are you a fox or a wolf in sheep's clothing? Or are you a genuine, person of conscience who absolutely understands the importance of fixing this problem once and for all? And to fix this problem, it starts with reparations for people of color. So-called Negroes, African American, who we now are beginning to realize are the true Hebrew Israelites. All that money that you've been sending overseas, you religious organization, to the Jews, because the Jews are Yahweh's chosen people, you were deceived. Yahweh's chosen people lived among you. You enslaved them. We're here. We've been amongst you all the time. Maybe you were hoodwinked, maybe you weren't. Now you know. Now what you're going to do. As you were trying to restore so-called Israel, the false Jews, Revelation 2 and 9, Revelations 3 and 9, now what are you going to do for the real ones? Now what are you going to do for the real ones? Christians, white Christians, what are you going to do for the real ones? They walk amongst you. They die amongst you. They're in poverty amongst you. They live in ghettos amongst you. They're redlined amongst you. They're redistricted amongst you. And they're policed with viciousness, as you saw with George Floyd in Minnesota, amongst you. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to restore them? Or are you going to die with their blood on your hands as your parents and your parents and your parents all the way back did? I hope not. But trust me, protesting, guys, it's going to take a little bit more than that this time. A lot more than that. Let me be clear. It's going to take a lot more than that this time. A lot more. So if you're really sincere, reparations. Petition the government right now. Reparation for so-called African Americans, descendants of slavery here in America. And get it done before election time. Because if you don't, then don't expect us to show up. Yeah, you'll get a few, little, the ignorant amongst us who profess to be the leaders amongst us, but they're not. You'll get some of them trying to persuade the feeble-minded amongst us, and the feeble-minded amongst us will trust you again and again and again. Definition of insanity. They will do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, only to be disappointed again come next, 2021, February, when the new administration takes over, whether it's Biden or Trump, they'll be duped again, and then they'll wait another 4 years for the next opportunity to be duped again. But the majority of us, we're going to sit it out, and we're going to protest, we're going to fight, and we're going to resist. And we're going to pray that Yahweh judge you as you have rained down and rained down viciousness upon us, mayhem and murder upon us. Then we're going to pray that Yahweh allow you to reap what you sow unless you repent and you make the wrongs of your ancestors and your wrongs as you've ignored this situation for your lifetime if you don't make it right. This is your opportunity. Sincerely, DFG. Bye now.